What is up, everybody? Jordan here with the Deck Box, coming back tonight with a little bit of different video. I wanted to talk about some of the updates that we got from Ultra Prism now that the set has kind of released officially. Since we started doing pre-releases and people are getting boxes, we're starting to see some of the things in the set that we originally were unsure of, or some things that really just kind of threw us off. We were totally shocked by them. So I want to talk about pretty much all those things in one quick video, give you kind of the highlights. So starting off, we're going to talk about Cyrus Prism Star, and this was one that I know a lot of people had talked about originally. They weren't 100% sure on the translation, like would it translate over perfectly, or what would happen. So let me just kind of explain to you how everything went down, where we're at this point. So originally the card read that you couldn't play the card unless you had a water or a metal Pokemon in the active position. In other words, in your attacking position up front. And to me, I think that it's kind of a bleh card because of that little statement there of having a water or metal Pokemon in the active. I think it makes it kind of bleh, not very good. You can check out the video where I explain my feelings behind it. I'll post a little link up top here. But then when people started opening at pre-releases, we started to see the English translation, and it read, you can't play this card if you don't have any water or metal Pokemon in play. In other words, anywhere on your field, on your bench, in the active, didn't matter. As long as they're in play, you could play this card. So then people were wondering, okay, so which is it? Because in Japanese, it is clearly that it has to be in the active, and in English, it's clearly that it can be in any position on the field. So they were kind of up in the air, which is it? And I believe it was, let's see, today is Friday. I think it was Monday or Tuesday, probably Monday this week. They announced that there would be an errata on the English card, basically putting it as the Japanese translation. You can't play this card if you don't have a water or metal Pokemon in the active. So they kept it the original way that everyone anticipated before it came over here, and kind of put it to rest. So the headline there, did this card just get better? No, it did not. It actually stayed just as bad as I originally thought. I know some other people think it's really good. I don't see it yet. I think that the metal decks we have, they're fine without it, and the water decks we have, they don't need it, and there's not a ton of them right now. So that's just my opinion. Now, one thing it does do is by adding the errata to this, it definitely shrunk up the I guess playability of the card, because with the new English translation that we originally thought it would be, I mean, we could play this in any deck that played Octillery or any sort of water support, a Vulpix, and whatever. It would have made this card really, really, really good, because it could just it could go in anything. Just a quick one of it goes in there, and it kind of gives all decks an even opportunity, which I honestly wouldn't have liked, because I think it needs to be a little bit more specific. This is such a potentially strong card if it had that type of capability. So I think to give it to any deck would not be the best. I think you want it kind of, I think you want some decks to have different things that they can do. Even though I don't think this is the best one you could have, I still think it's something that you do want to kind of spread it out a little bit, have some decks do certain things. That way, decks kind of change up a little bit. So that's kind of the headline on the Cyrus Prism Star issue. It is now back to the original translation that you have to have a water or metal Pokemon in the active position. Moving on. So we also figured out that the Solgaleo GX and Lunala GX gold cards are actually in this set. I know whenever it first came out, people were talking about, we don't know if it's going to be a promo, or will it be in the set? Will it be in the next set? Is this just something that Japan got early that we don't have yet? No, they are in this set, in these boxes, and I've seen Solgaleo GX, the gold one, on eBay already for like over $100. Like, it's just insane. Excuse me, this card is just skyrocketed in price. I haven't seen any Lunala, so I don't know. Maybe if someone has, let me know what the pricing is. Kind of looking for that. But Solgaleo is looking like it's about $120 right now. So one thing I kind of wonder, and I'm sure some of you wonder as well, is will we have more gold cards like this. My prediction, yes, but not for a while, and not that often. And obviously we have a lot of gold cards, like the secret rares that we have now of different supporter, or not supporters, but certain item cards. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about gold Pokemon cards. I think the last time we had this was Reshiram and Zekrom as gold Pokemon cards. And I don't think we've had many others besides that. So I'm going to say that yes, eventually we probably will, but it's going to be like the major Pokemon of that generation, and it's going to happen one time, and it's going to be years until they do it again. It's not going to be an every set kind of thing. I don't think this is going to become the norm, so I wouldn't get used to it. These are special, and that's why they're going for over $100. I mean, it just makes sense. Their playability is not anymore. It's just a lot shinier looking. I have to admit, the gold cards actually don't look too bad. They look extremely fake, but they don't look too bad. And if I pull one, I will probably sell it. I'm not gonna hold on to it. You know, I'll get my $120 and move on. So there's my little plug there for a sale. We will be opening up a few boxes in the next coming weeks, so be on the lookout for those. If I pull one, you guys heard it here first. I will be selling it. Moving on. All right, so the Prism Star cards. Something we figured out at pre-releases is these cards are in the place of the reverse holo cards in packs. It's not a guarantee every pack's going to have one, like a reverse holo, but if you do pull one, you will not get a reverse holo. So that means a couple things. That means if you open a pack and it has a green code in it, it's not the worst thing ever. You could still pull a Prism Star card. So that is a positive, because there's some decent ones. For me personally, I like the Solgaleo and the Super Boost Energy. I'd like to pull those. At my pre-release, I did pull a Darkrai GX, Darkrai Prism Star. So that was pretty neat, kind of unexpected to get that in a green code. And I knew it before I went to the pre-release. I had seen other people pulling them in green codes, and I forgot until I got one of my own. And it was pretty neat to actually get something whenever you didn't think you were getting something. So something that I kind of wonder though is like, will this affect the value much? Because these are supposed to be cards that you only play one in a deck, so you're not going to be pulling a ton of them. But now they're in, you know, what's considered a cheaper slot in the packs, and I'm wondering, you know, how that will affect the value, because it's not like pulling an ultra rare or anything like that, and you could potentially pull an ultra rare and one of these. And honestly, I'm going to say that it's not going to affect them too much. I kind of look at this as like the equivalent of a break card. I remember, I first started opening packs during Evolutions, which is like the worst time to start. But I guess as someone that's new to it, you're not going to know how bad the set actually is. But I bought a lot of Evolutions, and I remember pulling, you know, an EX and a break card in the same pack. We saw that a lot, and so I know that's possible with these, but I don't think it's going to affect the value as much, because you look at something, I mean, it's really, it comes down to playability, and then from there, obviously, the likelihood of pulling it. But if you look at something like Greninja Break, like between $12, $14, that's what I've seen lately. It's a break card. It's not like an ultra rare, but it costs more than a lot of ultra rares because of its playability. So I think that's kind of what we're going to have to look at here. Is this is still slightly higher of a rarity than even just a regular rare. From the amounts that I've seen pulled in boxes, I'm still seeing the standard 5, 6, 7 ultra rares, and then probably about 2 to 4 of these Prism Stars, which is a pretty decent amount considering we've got 6 here. To pull 2 to 4 in a box, it's not bad. But they're still going to be based on playability and the fact that there's something unique. It's not just like a regular rare card. This is a Prism Star. It's the first time we've had a Prism Star card, and it's bringing back an old mechanic. It's something that is unique. And if you haven't already pulled one of these, they are so much cooler in person than they are just on a screen in a picture. Like pulling these, the holographic areas are just in kind of random spots, but they're so cool looking. So there's kind of the unimportant side of it. They're cool looking. But playability is really what you're going to be going for, and like I said, it's something unique. These are the first of the Prism Stars. It's not going to affect their value, the fact that they're in a green code card slot, so don't let that sway you at all. And then finally, so not finally, last slide, but finally we're getting this Tapu Lele promo, and it's different than what we originally expected. So when this Tapu Lele card was originally announced in Japan, it was going to be in a Japan had it as like a card in one of their sets. Okay, and if you remember Worlds last year, it was a huge issue because players were told that they could not use this card. Players from Japan and other Japanese-speaking players, they could not use this card because not everyone had it. The United States didn't have it, England didn't have it, all these different countries did not have this card available to them. It was never printed in our language. So they were told, don't use it. And then a bunch of players showed up with it, and then there were odd game losses and losses that should have been ties that should have been losses, and wins that should have been ties, like just a bunch of weird stuff. I wasn't there, but I heard there's a ton of weird stuff going on because these players didn't listen or they didn't know, supposedly. Sorry, if you're at Worlds, you should probably be paying attention to what's going on in your emails. So it caused a lot of issues, and it was supposedly a really good card, and yeah, it's just a really good card, and everyone wanted it, but they couldn't play it then. And we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. We were shown a Tapu Lele pin collection box and all these other different things, and we still hadn't seen it. And now we're finally seeing it in this set, printed in this set. We didn't originally know that it was going to be in the set. We were just kind of wondering. So now we have it, and it's different than what Japan had. So Japan had theirs as a psychic Tapu Lele. Ours is fairy. And I imagine they're going to get the fairy one as well. I don't know. Maybe we'll get the psychic one as well with, how we're getting all these type reprints. But here I'm explaining what it does real quick. The first attack for 1 fairy energy, Psy Wave, 20 times damage. This attack does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So this is similar to Tapu Lele GX's attack, except slightly different. So you don't count your energy, you only count your opponent's active Pokemon's energy, but that could still add up. And with this Tapu Lele, you can actually hit for weakness, which is different from the other one. The downside is it's the fairy type. It's not the psychic type, which originally was really, really great because you're hitting a lot of different things for weakness. Whereas the fairy type Tapu Lele, you're hitting dragons for weakness. And there's not a ton of that right now, so it's not as big of a deal, in my opinion, as it could have been. And then Magical Swap, I think this is a major deal with it. For a fairy and a colorless energy, move any number of damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon to their other Pokemon in any way you like. So this goes really, really well in one of these new spread decks, and I believe that is why people were using it before. They were able to manipulate the board a lot and take some really solid knockouts that way with these spread decks. I mean, because you can just take the energy or the damage on the other side of the board and just move it however you want. Take multiple knockouts, 2, 4 prizes, whatever, if you did it appropriately. So that's why this card was so amazing, and we're finally getting it. The only downside, like I said, is ours is fairy and not psychic. I feel like at this point in time, psychic would be better, but I'm happy that we're at least getting the card. We're getting a chance to play with it now, and hopefully it does good things for us over here as well. And then some other surprises that I thought was pretty neat. We got some reprints. So I don't think we originally thought we'd be getting these reprints of the Ultra Beast in the set. And you know what? I don't know if we, I don't think we got Guzzlord. So sorry about that image there. But, we've had Formosa and Celesteela and Xurkitree in these big, huge, expensive boxes, like $45, $50. You get a playmat and some packs and stuff, but you were buying it just for this promo because you needed it to play, and so Celesteela was like $20, which it became playable, but it was still super expensive. Like, all these cards were super expensive. But in this set, we're getting them reprinted as full arts and rainbow rares, which is neat because we're getting more access to these cards. So you don't have to go out and spend $40 to $50 just to get this one card, or $20 on their own, whatever. It makes them cheaper that way. So that's pretty neat. And plus, I know a lot of people like their full arts and rainbow rares, so that's really cool as well. And then we also got a Silvally, or Silvally, however you pronounce it. I'm always going to call it Silvally. But we also got a Silvally GX reprint that I don't think many people were expecting. I certainly wasn't, especially since it was just printed last set, and now they're like, hey, you get another one. I like this artwork. I think it's really cool. I won't be buying any. I've already got a set of my own. But it's really neat that they, again, made another good card more accessible, and just some kind of surprising reprints that I don't think many of us were expecting. So that was really neat to see, along with everything else that came from this set. I really am excited for this set. I know during Crimson Invasion a lot of people were kind of bummed at the beginning because the pull rates were not good and the cards were not the best. I think we're starting to see more playability out of them now that we have them. You know, Buzzwall's definitely made a big difference. So I think it's making a little bit more difference as we see them played, but the pull rates were atrocious. So I've seen a lot of pulls online now, and it looks like people are doing fairly well. I don't want to speak too soon. I personally I have one box coming from Dead Draw Gaming and another one from a local store. So I'll be, trying those out, and we'll see how our pull rates go here. But I am definitely a lot more optimistic than Crimson Invasion. 4 ultra rares in a set, ultra rares in a set is not very great. But looking at 5, 6, or 7, I'm pretty optimistic. So be on the lookout for those videos. And I really hope you've enjoyed just kind of this little quick synopsis of what we've seen so far and what we hope to see from Ultra Prism. So as usual, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to leave a like. And obviously, if you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe. We've actually had a really big boost in subscribers this week for our little channel, and we really appreciate it. And we look forward to having you guys back for more videos. As usual, I've been Jordan with the Deck Box, where we want to know what's in your box. Have a great day, guys.